So after finishing my around 65-hour playthrough of Trails in the Sky first chapter, there was no way that I was not going to talk about this game on the channel, because right after beating it, I was so pumped, ready to jump into the second entry, and I'll definitely be jumping in that on day one. I just can't stop thinking about the game. I couldn't stop humming the theme music the whole time while I was playing it, just going about my everyday life, just thinking about picking up the game and playing more when I had some free time. And I know one of the things that people definitely praise a lot about the Trails games are the story and the characters, but I've always been more of a gameplay first kind of guy. So I want to start this review by talking about that, because instantly I was hooked on this game because of the great turn-based combat. This game has a really good fleshed out turn-based battle system that fully makes use of everything from elemental attacks, physical attacks, status ailments, special attacks, all that. It's really satisfying, really fun. And one thing that makes it stand out even more from a lot of other turn-based RPGs is that it also has an element of strategy to it, because even though it's turn-based, the turn-based battles do take place kind of like in this small little area or arena where you kind of move your characters around. And the positioning of your characters definitely does make a difference. It adds some strategy to it, because where your characters are positioned can sometimes be what will make or break your success or failure in a battle. And I really liked that extra touch and strategy to this battle system. And also you do get something called S-break attacks, which are kind of like your special moves. Some of them can be healing moves as well, but they do have some really flashy and awesome animations as well. Now, although the real meat and potatoes in the gameplay is the turn-based battles, there are also something called quick battles, which are basically action battles that you can do on the overworld and will really help you quickly mow down some lower level or weaker level enemies. You can just quickly hit them. You can do a move to stun them and just get them out of there quick, get your XP without having to fully enter a turn-based battle. I thought that was pretty cool as well. But as I said, the real meat and potatoes and fun for me was definitely in the great turn-based battle system of this game. Another key feature that really enhanced the gameplay for me and really made it stand out from a lot of other JRPGs is the turbo mode, or maybe high speed mode. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it basically does put the game on fast forward. And I think it definitely comes in handy, because you're going to be covering a lot of ground on foot, traveling to different areas. So instead of just walking at normal pace, why not just zip through everything? You're still going to get to fully explore the game and see everything there is, just at a much faster pace, which I think is a luxury to have in a turn-based RPG where it's going to take you a lot of hours to play through the game anyway. I didn't feel like I missed out on anything. You still get to experience all the battle animations and everything in battle. And honestly, once I turned it off for turn-based battles, I just couldn't go back to playing without it, because those animations to me just played out a bit too slow. But with the turbo mode on, I still got to experience all the awesome battle animations, but it just went by really quick and really smooth. And I think that is a real game changer for Trails in the Sky first chapter that makes it stand out from other turn-based RPGs out there. Another thing that really makes Trails in the Sky first chapter stand out to me is that it's the perfect amount of time for a JRPG. I'm sure if I really wanted to, I could have just gone through the main story and easily beat this game between 40 and 50 hours, but I just couldn't resist doing all the side quests, because many of them lead to doing more boss battles, and I really liked the turn-based battle system in this game, so I was not going to resist all the extra boss battles that I was able to do by doing the side quests. And most of the side quests are that, doing some boss battles. Some of them do lead to you maybe getting to know some other characters, NPC characters, a little more. Some of them may be kind of like fetch quests, but you really don't have to explore too much for that, because you can fast travel to locations that you have already been to as well. But I really also like how this game kind of does reward you a bit for going off the beaten path, because you can find these kind of like mimic like treasure chests. They move when you see them, and if you go to get the treasure from them, you're not going to be able to just collect. You're going to have a little boss battle that you have to face off against before getting some, usually ends up with some upgraded gear, better weapons, and armor for your party members, which is really cool as well. And then I don't think I mentioned about the turn-based combat, that if you hit critical attacks, you get to do an extra action. Maybe a character can just do one extra hit, or you could get a chain attack with two characters going in to do some extra damage together. Or if you have a full party, you can press Y on the Switch 2 anyway, and do, I think it's called a final burst or full burst attack, where your whole party will deal some extra damage. And the animations for that are really satisfying to watch, just like all the animations in this game definitely are. But I also wanted to mention that early on in the game, especially too, you can kind of go off the beaten path to areas where you're going to be too under leveled to go to, which the game doesn't recommend you to. But if you do, you can get the upgraded gear that may be there in those treasure chests, but also just facing off the common enemies that are going to be way stronger than you is really satisfying, because if you know what to do with the combat, you're going to be able to take them out, and you're going to be able to grind a bit and get a little bit overpowered for the rest of the story and the battles that you're going to come up against. So even though the game is linear, you do have these big open-ended areas to explore, and it does reward you for going off the beaten path. There are even some areas like towers in the game that are optional. You don't have to go there, but if you go there, you're going to be rewarded with better gear, better weapons, some fun boss battles. So that was just another plus of this game that I really loved. And of course, let's just talk about what everyone talks about from the Trails series. Yes, the game has a phenomenal story, and I think what really makes the story shine more than anything is just how many awesome, endearing characters there are, like Joshua Bright, Estelle Bright, Cassius Bright, Tita, Sherazard, Agate. There are just so many awesome characters and endearing characters in this story that you will love. And I gotta be honest, I don't mean to sound like a big softy. I don't even like to say this, but I gotta be honest. The story and the interactions between these characters did have me kind of tearing a bit. Am I the only one that's like that? Was I being too sensitive, or does this game just really hit you in the feels that good? Feel free to let me know if you're someone that played it. But just the way the characters are so well written, the way the story has so many twists and turns and keeps you interested in seeing what's going to happen next, definitely had me fully immersed in this game, along with the great standout music. This game has so many awesome songs and some real bangers that are just straight up bops as well, that you could definitely vibe to. The music in this game, definitely top tier, or as they like to say these days, chef's kiss, you know? Another great feature in Trails in the Sky first chapter is the Orbment system, because while your party members do learn their own unique special moves, you can kind of fully customize all their elemental, or should I say magic moves that they can do. If you want them to focus more on magic attacks or healing, stuff like that, you can upgrade their orbments as you go through the game. The game fully introduces you to all that and tells you everything you need to know about all that stuff. I kind of just played through this game fully blind, didn't do any research, and just kind of figured out what everything was as I went. And that worked kind of fine until I got to the final boss battle, which I realized I needed some special moves, or just some moves that would really benefit me. Not enough of my characters had them. And I'll just go ahead and give a little tip that you'll definitely need for this game, especially the final battle, that'll help you get through it without giving any spoilers. But you're definitely going to want to have Earth Guard and Earth Wall on multiple party members to make the game easier to beat if you want to do that. But the story is just really so good. And then obviously it ends with leading you to a sequel, Trails in the Sky first chapter. I definitely can't wait for that game. And that's why I feel that Trails in the Sky first chapter is an absolute must-play JRPG, because with the second game coming, this game isn't even too long. If you just want to focus on the main story stuff, I'm sure you can beat it between 40 to 50 hours. I did all the side content and was kind of trash at the battle system, so I lost a lot of boss battles because I was just figuring it out as I went. So my playthrough took me 65 hours. It could have maybe even taken me longer, so you can play this game how you want. Another thing that's praised in this series and in this game is that as different events happen, the NPC's dialogue will change and they'll talk to you about the events that are happening in the world, or you'll even just get to see even some of the NPCs have little character progression throughout the game, which is a cool little bonus. This game just has so much to it. It's made with so much love and care that if you like turn-based RPGs with good music, good combat, great characters, and a great story, I highly recommend playing Trails in the Sky first chapter. One thing that I always kind of hesitated on with playing this series was that I couldn't start from the first game, but now that they made a full remake available on my favorite platform, the Nintendo Switch 2, I had to check it out. And I do want to shout out some content creators who inspired me to check this out. One channel that I watched, or have watched for years is Orbology, and she really got me interested in checking out the Trails games because she talks about them a lot, and she definitely wasn't wrong. These games are phenomenal. And another content creator, Inferno Fox Gaming, I've heard him talk a lot about these games, how much he loves them. So I just want to shout out both of them for kind of inspiring me to get into this series. And I'll go ahead and put their channel links in the description if you want to check out some awesome content creators who talk about JRPGs and game collecting, all kind of stuff like that. But anyway, I really do appreciate you all watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Please hit the hype button to help me out in the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, if you like JRPG content and just variety gaming content, Nintendo content. Thanks again so much for watching. Make sure you play Trails in the Sky first chapter.